we should be open for what is developed in the outer world. That's one thing. But the other thing is that we study this, and that we discover what is the archetypal value of all the exercises they have found. They find terrific exercises, like for instance the INPP work from England, or this reflex work, and there will be other things. But what we have to look at is, do they work according to these principles? Are they addressing the supersensible sheets of the children? Is it rhythmically, so that the breathing comes in? Has it elements of lifting, or is it only stretching? But is there also this lifting element in it? Is it so rhythmical that the astral body can imprint the movement into the etheric, so it becomes a new proper habit? Has it, what else? What else do we say? Does it follow the archetypal path of development, or part of it? Do you go from antagonistic movement to symmetry, to laterality, to dominance, or part of that? Do you go that way, or do you go backwards, which you shouldn't do? How do they address the senses? How is it related to the currents? Is the astral body, think about the rotation exercises, for instance, for those who know them. Is the astral body allowed to come in? Where is the ego then? And when we do that, when we go back and take what we find and relate it to what we know, and then think, yeah, this is good, and then share it with one another and even discuss it, and then we can take in new things or invent new things ourselves and share it with one another and look critically at it. I think that is what Audrey McAllen did as well with the beanbag exercises of Gene Hunt. As far as I know, the story is that it was one of the exercises Gene, I don't know whether it was this one, but anyway, that she had the direction not correct. So Audrey corrected her, helped her, and then the directions were according the currents. So, and after that it was published. And that's exactly what you said this morning about the beanbag. Was it this morning or was it yesterday? The beanbags going under the legs like that. Well, the exercise, of course, it's a good idea. But when you know it and look at it, and you think, oh, it needs to go into levity instead of go into gravity, then you know. So go back to the source and look at it, and then judge what you have, and maybe you have to transform it. And then extra lesson is not a book, like I said in the first night. It's not a book with exercises, it's not a limit, it's a concept. It's a concept built out of anthroposophy. And when you relate it to what we have in anthroposophy, in this archetypal picture of the human being and how it moves and how the developmental laws are, then you will find your way and find things in the outer world. Sometimes they are far more better than we are. But we have to, they miss this link with the spiritual, well, let's say sometimes. Let's don't judge them. But we have to link it up with what we know from spiritual science, and then I think we can use it. As long as we share and be critical. Don't you agree? Okay, well, if you're not, it's okay with me as well. Yeah, Anne?
I'm back with the teeth. Just assuming that the diet is healthy, if somebody has perfectly straight, beautiful teeth, adult teeth, above and below, is that because the etheric is pushing against the astral and preventing the twisting, or the astral hasn't come in adequately to make the teeth twist and turn, or
they went to a good orthodontist. No. Yeah, I think it shows you some harmony, a balance between left and right, and above, below, and front and back. That's what I think. The teeth going out is pushing of the astral body from back to front, or when it's more going inwards, it's more this. And often you see when the teeth go out like that these are the people that really have this. You can't see. Well, maybe you can, but I can't. You can't see this current going from inside to the outside. But the tendency you will notice, and the people that have these teeth more backwards, they will be a little bit more shy and have more this tendency. And you even can see it in the skull of the head. You know the cosmic child and the earthly child? Where do we look for whether a child is cosmic or earthly? It's different from large-headed and small-headed. Large-headed and small-headed is between below, above and below. So that's what you see here. So, and that's, let's say, that has to do with growth. Having a large head like a baby, or have a small head like an old person. So is in time. So that's what you see here. So in the front of the skull here, when there are these horns almost out, that's coming from below up. And then it pushes up, and then it comes here in the front. And the other side, when it goes down, when the nervous system is too strong, then the skull stays back a little, like here. You see, so a bit like that. But that's not cosmic or earthly. A cosmic child stays back. Not stays back, that's not a good word. Let's say it has this gesture to front and back. So it is more this current, and it watches. Receiving. It's receiving, yeah, exactly. It's receiving. So what gesture is that? That's the gesture of going this way, receiving. And that's what you see at the back of the skull. Here you see the cosmic child. So the skull itself is imitating the receiving gesture of the dome of the sky. So here you see the cosmic child. At the back of the skull, you can really have these children, but they have this beautiful, especially when they have short hair, you can see it. This beautiful dome here at the back as if they are receiving, but they are not in action. And there are other children that live in the front. Earthly children are perfect in their senses, because they know how the earth is. They want to play. They know everything. They don't make a pic. They are well, even you have that with adults. You can have carpenters, for instance, or workers. They know how to construct a table or a chair or a cupboard or whatever. And when you ask them, how did you do that? They can't give you the answer, because their hands did it. They didn't make a mental picture of it. They just did it. So they live in the senses, they live in the front, they live in the action. That's where they live. They live in the earth. And that you see in the skull sometimes as well, that the skull doesn't have this receptive dome, but is more flat. So for the earthly cosmic child, you look at the back of the head. Sometimes you can really have that it's straight up. You see? It goes straight up, the neck goes straight up. So that earthly cosmic is more front to back instead of above below. So that's that. And you know Robert, it's not Robert, what's his name? Roger Federer? Roger Federer. Roger Federer, the tennis player? Yeah. It's interesting. So when you look at when you look at him play, you have this Hawkeye possibility. You know that when the ball is out or in or whatever, they can ask for a Hawkeye. Yeah, it's called Hawkeye. So then they show where the ball was and then whether it's out or not. He asks for a Hawkeye only when he knows it's out or in or whatever. He is never wrong. He is never wrong. Del Potro and so forth, they sometimes make a mistake. Even, what's his name, Murray? They make mistakes. Sometimes they ask for a Hawkeye and then still it's out. So they are wrong. So the referee is right. Roger Federer is never wrong. Now look at his face. When you see the eyes of Roger Federer, they are very deep inside his skull here. Very deep in. They go very deeply in when you look from the sides. As if this current here has penetrated his face more deeply than normal. Let's say more deeply than normal. So there you see this current of the sentient body, what in the perception, is even expressed in his face, in how the face is constructed. So with these ideas, you can even look at how how faces are in the teeth or in detail. You can see that. You have also children that have ears like that. You see, isn't it? Yeah, as if they are only in this frontal in this area. So orientated to the front, into the hearing. So into detail, how do you say that? It fits. Is that the word? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, het klopt.